Hey, what's going on? Today we are out in the woods doing a little bit of preparation for this coming deer season. Today I'm going to be putting together a little video on trail trimming and shooting lane trimming. And today is July 13th, so the time I'm trimming now is going to give the deer and everything very much time to get accustomed to the big trimming lanes that I'm planning on trimming. One thing you want to keep in mind when you're trimming this early is we're still in the middle of the growing season. So I'll talk about advantages and disadvantages of trimming just a little bit or trimming pretty heavily. And what you want to really keep in mind is if you're trimming right now, you're going to want to trim a little bit heavier because things are going to continue to grow. Even though you might cut it where you think, oh, there's no way it'll be fine, you'll be surprised with enough rain and enough sunlight in the growing season, the woods, the trees, everything grows really fast. So I'm going to take you to the top of a couple of my stands, and we're going to talk about what I'm looking to trim for good, clear shooting lanes. And also we'll hit on access paths to these stands so I can get into them quietly without any hassle. So let's get into the woods and see what we got going. Okay, in this instance, I'm pretty lucky. These two stands that I'm getting ready to trim my access lanes for are really short, but I still want to have my paths very clear. So whenever deer season comes around, all I have to do is just slip in here, not brushing my scent up against leaves and sticks, and kind of get a good path now so everything can get used to the path being there and just get adjusted to it. This is where I'm going to be entering. As you can see, my path is already pretty dang clear, and there's my ladder. So like, this is a no-brainer, easy. I'm gonna take my Milwaukee weed eater here, and I'm just gonna really open this up, trim this back. I notice I got some thorns. That stuff will keep growing well into fall. It will just come right back, so I gotta really trim it pretty heavily. There is a fine line between just mutilating a giant opening and trying to keep a path trimmed back just enough to where you can walk in here in a couple of months and not have any problems and not have to do this again real close to deer season. From where we stand today, we're about 2 months away from opening day. I have two other stands that I'm going to have to trim out, and the other one is pretty easy just like this, and then I have another one that's going to take a lot more trimming. It's a stand that goes in the woods, but I'm looking for an access path because I really only hunt it in the beginning of the rut in November. I really don't go back in my sanctuary woods unless it's like right at the rut time. So, but I still want to have a good path to get to that stand because it's literally in the middle of my woods and I have no good access to it otherwise. So I'm going to create that access today. And just like that, I have a wide open, easy path that is trimmed a little excessively, but in 2 months time, this is going to kind of grow back in a little bit, and I should still be able to not have to make any noise come time, and I should be able to just walk in here. And if I really want to later, I can kind of make a little path with my foot, kind of help keep it quieter. Obviously, as the leaves fall this fall, this will get louder, but for early season bow hunts, it won't get much quieter than this right here. Just heard me walking on it. It's pretty nice, and the deer will adjust to it as we go. My second stand also, it's on the other side of this L shape, so I literally just went around the corner from where I was, but different wind direction makes this stand better. So we have another one tucked away in here. However, real easy access. It's already pretty open from years past me doing this. So I'm just gonna take my weed eater, knock down some of this grass, hit a couple of these leaves, so whenever I'm walking into places, I'm not brushing up against them, because these will continue to grow for a little while. So we'll come in here and clear our path to get right to this ladder stand. And there you have it. I should be able to sneak in here in 2 months and quietly duck right in here. And I got the woods and right on the edge of the corn and clover. So that is 2 easy stands to trim. If you have a similar setup, it's really quick. Just take a weed eater. I have a little battery one, and it doesn't matter. It can be, gas is actually better. They're usually stronger. But instead of chopping through it and kicking through it, just take a weed eater, open your path up, and make it to where you can get in and out undetected in a couple of months. So now I have to make a decision when it comes to this next path. So this next stand is probably about 50 yards, 60 yards down in the timber. There's not a great way to get to it. I have no access from my property anywhere besides from where I come in for the other two stands. So predominantly I need to hunt both of the stands I just trimmed out with a west, northwest, or north wind. If I have those winds, I'm perfect for these two stands. However, come time for the rut, when the deer just kind of are more in the woods and they want to be in that cover and they're kind of bumping does from bedroom to bedroom, I'm gonna want to be down in my stand. Now I'm gonna want to have an easy access to get down there, because come November, I'm gonna have to be getting down there early in the morning, and I might be sitting all day, you know? So I wanna make sure it's easy enough for me to get in and get out, both quietly, undetected, and to not leave a bunch of scent behind. So I'm gonna walk down in the woods, find the tree, and kind of work my way up, because this property lays with a gentle, gradual downhill slope. So I'm gonna work my way down into the woods, and I'm gonna start at the tree, and I'm gonna make my path out. And the beauty of something like this, a lot of the times if I make a little path, I'm gonna get deer to use this path. Now that's not really my objective for what I'm gonna be actually hunting the stand. However, if I can put the path in just the right place, it might help deer navigate through my property to my food sources. So here we are at the base of the tree, at least 60 yards to the edge of the field. Now here's the decision. Over here to the left, you get into really big timber. It's timber that way, but it's really big timber that way. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to avoid making my entrance path from anywhere on this side. So I either want to go straight up or over and then up. We're at the deer camera in the corner of the clover. So I think I've made this path my access point. And so I'll have to show you on the map, but this kind of makes a little loop. This path actually was made a couple weeks ago. I had a big white oak tree fall last winter, and I finally hauled it out of here going through my woods, and I kind of stick to the four-wheeler path, I think, to get there. That's only gonna have me making my own path for about 15 or 20 yards. So I'm just gonna kind of take my weed eater along this four-wheeler path, clean it up just enough to walk on, and then when I get down towards where the path ends, I will make my own to the bottom of the stand. And then we'll be done with our trail cuts. And this will keep me on the more open side of my property, keeping me entering further away from the deep timber. I'm gonna take you on a quick trip up the new path I just got. And now this path is gonna do two things. It is going to allow me to hunt this stand in November with good access. And I'm also gonna be able to use the new path slash already used path to be able to get the four-wheeler in here in case I ever need to do any work in the woods, any TSI that I'm gonna be doing in the future into the winter. And there you have it. We're out of the woods. We're done cutting access paths with this property. It is 100% ready to go wherever I need to go for all of my stands. So now I'm gonna switch gears and switch into shooting trimming lanes. So I'm gonna get out my saw attachment, start talking about the different things I'm looking for while trimming my shooting lanes. The first thing I like to do when I'm trimming lanes in my deer stand is obviously climb the stand. I'm up here on top of this ladder stand, and this is from the sitting position. Now from this stand, I don't do a lot of sitting and shooting, but I'm paying attention to what's covering me up. So this in particular little tree bush in front of me, it's a good little cover early season. Obviously, it's not gonna stick around all season, but I will take the cover when I can. However, it's pretty close on my ladder. So the parts that are in my way that I'm gonna brush up and make noise against, I'm just gonna take my thumb and cut them, break them off, and make sure I have a clear entry into my stand without making a bunch of noise. Remember, if you climb your stand with your backpack on, you're gonna need room so you can get in without hitting your backpack and snagging a bunch of tree branches and making a bunch of noise. Okay, now we have the shooting view. So most of this is pretty good. There's a couple of lanes over on this side that I gotta clean up a little bit. As you can see, I'm planning on taking out some of the bottom little limbs on the bottom of this branch to open that up. I'm gonna hit this hole a little bit, and I'm gonna hit this hole just a little bit. And those are kind of like my big windows over here to the corner. And I also have a little window that I need to open up just right here. It's a little 7-8 yard chip shot. But if a deer, there's really only one way in, especially when my corn's gonna be all in and my Egyptian wheat between me and the woods. Kind of a little pinch point right here. So if I'm lucky, I get a little 7-8 yard shot just right through here. So I'm gonna have to take a little bit of the top of that and then the top stuff on the top of this tree branch. So if you're by yourself, the easiest way to do it is, unfortunately, just a lot of up and down, up and down. I'm gonna try to remember in my head as much as I can, but I'm just gonna have to get back up here, see what I like, and then climb back down and do whatever trimming I have to. When I'm looking at my first part that I'm gonna be trimming, I'm already noting that on top of this limb here that goes across this way, I'm taking the things on top, and just above that, I'm gonna take out the little vine in that branch, so that opens that up as well. And then on my next, I'm looking at this branch, and I'm gonna try in my mind to get just the bottom side of that branch, and then I'll probably have to come back up and see what that looks like before I do anything with these two shot windows. Let's get down and do some trimming. Okay, as you can see, opened up my chip shot lane. That lane looks great. I left part of that branch, and now I just have to do more over here. So I need to kind of take note what tree is which. I'm kind of looking, running the tree from the bottom. I need to get rid of the top of that little guy, and honestly, top of that one too, and that's the next tree further that way. We'll see if I can reach that one with what I got today. Okay, well, there you have it. Shooting lane 1, shooting lane 2, 3, and shooting lane 4. All of my shots are right in front of me. I still have ample cover in front of me. Every tree is gonna be different. Every setup is gonna be different. I really love to have a good amount of cover around me so you can get away with a little bit more movement. You know how good a deer can see, so the more cover you leave for yourself, the more you can, in theory, get away with at the right times of moving. However, you don't want to have a bunch of things that your arrows can hit. So you always want to make sure you have good, clear windows for a shot. So I like what I see in this stand. I'm going to move on to another stand, but that's the gist of it. It is so much easier if you have a partner to help you, hunting partner, because then they can be on the ground with the saw, you can be the eyes in the stand, and you can kind of direct them to whatever branch you want them to cut. But if you're by yourself, it can be done. These are things that I'm just getting the jump on now, so I don't have to do them later. We're getting about a month away from food plot season, so we're gonna be tearing into and breaking ground on some fall food plots before we know it. If you're looking for something to do this summer to get ready for deer season, I strongly suggest getting out. It's hot. Obviously, I'm soaked. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.